Just a second. Three, two, one, go.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have gathered here to debate on the topic. If we set aside deaths, the COVID 19 quarantine had positive effects. So, me and Harsh are debating in favor of the topic, and Keman and Teresa are debating against the topic. So, I'd like to begin. Okay. So, just like every pandemic or epidemic or natural disaster, COVID 19 also had a significant toll on human life. It disrupted not just routines, but there was an actual loss of life. However, if we keep aside the deaths, did COVID 19 quarantine have any positive effects? In my opinion, it did. And I hope that I'm able to convince you all of that. So, I previously stated a disruption of routine due to the pandemic. While COVID 19 was like the dark cloud, it did have a silver lining. And in my opinion, that was quarantine. Quarantine may have led to isolation, but at the same time, it also allowed individuals to have time and space for self reflection. Since we had so much time and we were at home, we had a lot of time to reflect back on our choices or on our routines or whether we are in the space that we want to be. So I feel like in terms of time, we had a lot of it for ourselves, and hence a lot of self reflection was possible. Secondly, the realization of life being so temporary got families closer. We saw that we were spending a lot of time with our families and a lot on bonding activities with our families, or playing games with them and spending time together. So I feel that that was a positive side of the COVID 19 pandemic. Then, nextly, I'd say that there was a lot of time for working on oneself, both on the mind as well as the body. A lot of people who weren't physically fit got into fitness routines. They started working out at home. They did their weight loss journeys, and they stuck to this routine even after the COVID pandemic was over. So I feel that has really benefited a lot of individuals, including myself. So that was a huge positive effect. Then, nextly, I'd say there was the birth and growth of influencers during COVID. Earlier, sources like Instagram were considered very maybe just for entertainment purposes. But after COVID, they became a mainstream channels for advertisements for businesses, or just spreading information regarding any kinds of topics that we need to spread. It connected a lot of people globally, and yeah, social media was established as an important channel for advertisements, growing businesses. And nextly, I'd say that there was a discovery of virtual education. Like since the pandemic, we had to close down schools. So everyone was virtually connected, including education. And it was not just during the pandemic, but we continued with virtual education even after the pandemic. Like still we upload documents on Google Classroom, or we prefer sending things via PDFs because storage of such documents is way easier as compared to physically handing hard copies of documents. So all of this might have probably it was even there before COVID, but during COVID it got very established in everyone learned how to use such online tools, and it was very handy, and we still continue using it even after the COVID pandemic. Then I feel that it helped to connect people worldwide, since everyone was restricted to their homes, and the virtual world was where we could be ourselves and be free. And this, I feel like the world was connecting. Like I could see what was happening in various parts of the world from the proximity of my device. Say all of that. And I feel like since we had so much time at our hand, we indulge ourselves into learning new hobbies or discovering our hidden interests. Like a lot of people got into reading or just learning something online via YouTube videos and things like that. Then I feel that nature got a lot of time to rejuvenate, since everyone was inside. There was the pollution levels were very low. We could also see on online or on news channels that certain exotic birds and animals were never seen before, like especially even on streets in Europe. There were a lot of these exotic birds and animals that were out on the streets. So I feel like because of the pandemic, nature also got a little break from the humans and all the pollution and things like that, and it had a little time to rejuvenate. And yeah, and lastly, the last point that I have is that earlier hygiene was seen as an exception, or maybe even like privilege, but because of the COVID pandemic, it became a norm. And even today, now we are very mindful of hygiene, about washing our hands, using a mask when we are sick. Earlier, this wasn't a very established thing, but now because of the COVID, we have still continued with these practices, which are very good for us and for everyone around us. So I do feel like if we keep the deaths aside, then the COVID-19 quarantine also had a positive effect on us. So that's all.
Yeah, great points, Kim. And just to add up a few things, it also led to innovation in a lot of fields that are helping us today. For example, before COVID, things like ventilators used to be very expensive and difficult for normal people. But after COVID, there was a lot of innovation, and cost of things like ventilator, then many pharma manufacturing processes were reduced because due to this pandemic, people had to adapt. And these things are also shaping everyone's life today because those things like ventilator remained after COVID also. Everyone need facilities like those. Skilled up pharma is also helping everyone today. And of course the various infrastructure like internet and all got more accessible, and you can say cheaper as well, what I've seen at places like Saudi, and thus more people can now do work from home from places like tier 2 and tier 3 cities, thus reducing the load on the bigger cities. So this was at a higher level, but these have shaped a lot of individuals life today, and I think most of the points Kim has already covered greatly. So over to you, Kiman and Teresa.
Triza, go ahead.
Okay, COVID-19 was more like the Hiroshima Nagasaki case, and the effects still remain. And I'll be speaking on the negative side of COVID-19 and how it has affected our lives. And I have 6 points to favor my topic. Firstly, it has adversely affected the lives of many people, um, say heart attacks, diabetes, uh, and there was increase in stress levels in many people, and it is still seen. Many people lost their life because of grief, because of the death of many of their family members, or yeah, because they suffered more in terms of health than the actual COVID-19 death. Secondly, many families couldn't meet their financial needs because they lost their job, and they couldn't find a job because all the jobs were shifted to being in the online mode. And say if the person was not someone from our generation, it was very difficult for them to shift to online mode, because they were used to working like manually and offline. uh, my third point would be, we lost many good doctors and nurses, uh, and many innocent lives on the whole were lost during COVID. Yeah, so that was my third point. Fourth point would be, there was a break in education, uh, which would affect all the domains, because if a child is, say, not studying for a particular period of time, that would in turn have future consequences, right? And we couldn't export nor could we import goods, because of which the economy of our country, not only India but other countries as well, went down. And we did not like get goods from other countries as well, which reduced our productivity as a whole. And lastly, because of deaths, we lost many lives all over the world, and our near and dear ones as well. So yeah, I think it had many negative effects. Over to you, Kima.
Yes. Very well said, Triza. Just to add, okay, imagine a boy named Jay who uh, who puts all his investment, goes abroad, settles there, maybe in some office or doing some education purpose, and COVID-19 hit that time. All his investment, maybe in lakhs or more than that, just goes to waste, and he's into mental pressure. Imagine a person not going abroad but staying at home only, and having a grocery store or one big store and putting his all entire life investment into that, and it gets disrupted because of COVID-19. So yes, I'm here to say today that COVID-19 not only had negative impacts just because of that, but it is taking entire life's investment of many people. And today I'm here to have, maybe I have more, like around 3 points to support, three additional point, as Trija has mentioned earlier, some points to say why COVID-19 was not a good time, even after not considering deaths. First thing is about mental health, and Teresa has really mentioned about it. It is not just the death, but the slow poison which mental death is causing. Like maybe somebody passed away, or maybe you don't have anything. That there can be n number of permutation and combination why you could have some mental health, and there might also be a situation when nobody is there to talk with you for that concern. So, firstly, about that, then there was many people who were trapped, and we have seen some incidents like Sonu Sood was helping others to reach their hometown or their house. So people were there without even the shelter. So yes, I would like to again highlight that. And as Triza has also mentioned about academic breaks, I would again say that some people, like even we can see, like in our initial start we had online classes, so we do not really have experience over whatever should have been there in the maybe freshers, or that is also very small thing. But there is academic labs in many of the people out there, and it could be very easily seen. And my lastly, I would like to highlight onto, like, we are blessed in a lot of ways. We have internet, as as opponents have mentioned about internet. Then there might be better food facilities, but there are many out there who don't even have proper food to sleep before going to sleep, right? And the world might be very like nightmare for them in the COVID scenario, where they can't even move out from their own house. And yes, by stating all this and adding few more points to Triza's, I would rest my case saying that COVID-19 was not a good time, even after considering deaths were not, even after excluding deaths. Yeah. Triza,
I would like to add another point.
yeah.
As a human, the ultimate goal is death, right? So, like that is where we land in the end. But during COVID-19, there were many deaths because of which there was no enough place actually for people to have that level of say, irrespective of religion. Same Catholics, they bury the person, but during COVID there was no place to do that
Yeah.
or to cremate the person. So they used to just electrify the body and dispose it. So I think even that was a bit sad on the negative side of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we could start the next phase, Q&A, rebuttal phase.
Yes,
Would you like to go ahead, Harsh, Kim? Triza, you could answer.
you start. Kiran. I just need.
Okay, how do you have to address Kim Hirsch question for y'all? Like,
Yeah.
don't y'all think not everyone is lucky enough to have proper internet, proper food, or proper services at home? Like, how do you have to take, say COVID-19 was a good time for them?
Yeah, like we what happened in COVID-19 is that everyone came together, the nation came together, and we like together, like at national level, things were built so that the life of people who are suffering can be improved. People who don't have shelter, people who don't have food, and people who were anyways neglected even before COVID had come, they were given the first priority in things like this. So I think the best thing that happened is that the nation had come together and helped all the things around it, and they weren't left alone to suffer in the condition.
Yeah. If I have to answer this question, then I feel like there is always a certain section of the population that is deprived of something or the other at any given point. Like, for example, even today, we might consider having food as a very normal thing. But then there's a large section of people who are even, they're suffering to get even the bare minimum, such as food and water. Now you're talking about there being a problem of internet. That is again a certain section of society that was highlighted. I if you look at it from a point of view of someone who's even suffering for food and water, that would again seem like a privileged problem, right? So again, I feel like there's COVID-19 was a situation, and we had to deal with that situation the best we could. Certain people could, certain could not. But this doesn't mean like we can generalize. Again, getting back to your question, I feel like we did the best we could, and to accommodate the maximum number of people that we could. There were certain people, I do acknowledge that they were suffering because of a lack of provisions for them, such as internet and things like that. But the aim was to do our best that we could to go through this pandemic, and these virtual options were one of those things that we tried to, like, for the betterment of majority of the people. Then there were still people who were suffering, but then what was being tried to do was like trying to solve the problem the best we could, I feel.
Any questions from your
I
side?
hope that answers your question a little, at least, Kevan. I mean, it feels a little insensitive, but I guess that's the only practical solution.
Any questions from your side?
Uh,
Um, yeah, Harsh.
yeah, I think we can talk. One point was made about the academic lapses.
Mm.
Uh, I think there may have been a temporary messy time during the academic lapses, like exam and all got online and other things, but overall it had a very positive effect. Like many top colleges like MIT, Stanford, and even many IITs have put their lectures online and accessible to everyone. So due to that, now everyone is able to see those quality lectures even today. So I think that is one good thing that happened out of it.
Also, there was a point stated by Triza that there was no import and export, due to which India and other countries suffered. But is that statistically true? I mean, is it that import and export was completely halted because of COVID? I don't really think so, because then how were vaccines brought from abroad to India if that was the case? I don't think that export was completely halted. Maybe there was a little difficulty in it, but making the statement that it was halted, I, I don't know. Would you like to say something about that?
Uh,
It was not the same as it was like it did disrupt the nation's economy, right, to some extent.
Yeah.
So that was my point. Like, if there was no COVID-19, this wouldn't be the case. But because of COVID-19, there was some amount of uh, like difficulty, and vaccines was a need, right? But when it came to say food or things like that, it was a bit difficult to import and export because of the social distancing and everything. Yeah, so that.
uh,
And Harsh, to answer your uh, query, um, education was like, yeah, you said there are courses online and everything, but you can force a horse to go to the water, but you can't force the you can take a horse to the water, but you can't force horse to drink the water, right? So even if the courses are available online, people should actually study. There are some students who need like reinforcement from external sources, which was not possible during COVID. And uh, yeah, if a person really wants to study, he will do it. But if he doesn't want to, what about the if in a class of 100, 10 people want to study, 90 won't study, right? So that is what I meant.
Yeah, just to add on to Triza's answer, I would also like to highlight that education is not just theoretical, and there are a lot of practical also. Like if you are doing learning any surgeries, you can't really learn it on online, right? You need some assets to deal with it. So and maybe there might be a situation where there might be a medical student, or there might be some ex student who is in their final year where they are aiming for some placements, and it is whole disrupted. You don't even have any like sources to do any practical work. So again, we can't just because of these factors, I feel academic was really shattered for the entire generation. And maybe since that's one base was shattered, it is much more difficult for them to job hunt later on.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, but I think it again came down to adoption. Like one good thing few colleges did is that they shifted the practical to later semesters. So that is what we can appreciate. And but I agree, yeah, practical knowledge on the spot when we were learning the theory would have helped us side by side.
Uh, Triza, are you stuck? Hello, can you see her screen? I think internet.
No shit.
Do you all have just I'll call her. Okay.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Do you all have any questions? Kim, Harsh, any other question?
Mm, okay, one point was made about the investment, the COVID thing. So was the guy named John or something? Someone?
Yeah, yeah.
So so John came and invested his money, and then the of course COVID-19 led to a share market fall down, and yeah, he lost a lot of money. But I think it's the nature of stock market. We keep on getting like one event or another leading to crash, and like even the recent tariffs had led to a big crash. So but eventually overall the market again jumps up. Like if you see, COVID-19 was definitely one of the worst crashes, but after that it was one of the largest gains that we ever saw in the recent times.
Mhm.
So I think that point goes to the more of investment disciplinary rather than investment rather than as a part of COVID issue.
To answer that, Harsh, when I like the example that I had given was not on the basis of stocks. I had said like he has invested his life investment into maybe some going abroad for some work or maybe some education. I was saying in that perspective, and I think that whole experience could never be reversed and got back. It wasn't about
Okay,
it wasn't about stock. I do agree that stock it would benefit, and like the whole nature of stock is that way only. You'll face loss and subsequently some gains as well.
hmm,
Also,
okay,
during COVID, many lives were lost, so the population of people reduced on a whole, right? So, in some countries where the population was already very less, the it decreased to a very like great extent because of COVID. So, what do you feel can be done like to better the situation?
yeah, like that was a sad event, and we can't do like anything about that. But yeah, I think one good thing was people came together and helped each other, and like not like left them alone.
But aren't we setting deaths aside
Yeah.
for this
Yeah,
debate?
yeah,
Yes.
actually.
Uh, okay.
You all have any questions? Kim, Harsh, Riza,
Uh,
or can we go ahead?
One last point, maybe. You all stated that the mental health of people was affected during COVID. But if like we had to mindfully get into activities such as engaging online with our family members, or even working out at home, or taking maybe vitamin D in the morning, sunlight, this could have helped with coping up with the symptoms, right, of mental health. So individuals did have a choice to whether they want to help themselves or not. So don't you all think that that is a disadvantage that could be dealt with instead of being completely.
What about the people who couldn't do it, like in case of old age, like old people who used to go to work, or people with disabilities? Like it would be difficult for them not to like actually do all that.
If we are talking about like old people, like senior citizens, then they in general don't go to work, right, since they are retired. And usually if we see, they are not even engaged a lot in kind of activities, that they are mostly like engaged in activities that just involve themselves, like maybe reading or doing things by themselves mostly, like if we see our elderly people also. So I feel like maybe they were content. It was mostly the younger generation who was a little
No, I
just
mean, like if there was no COVID, they could just move around and be with their friends and like be around the people they normally go to. Like for
yeah.
example, older people, they just go like outside their house at least. and walk around and meet a few of their older friends and be happy. But this was not possible because of COVID, right? They couldn't meet anyone. So, and sometimes what happened was, if we know that the older people, they were affected easily because of COVID compared to the younger. So sometimes the older people were affected by COVID and there was no one to look after them. So that, uh, and if you are old, no one will actually come to you and get COVID from you, right? So then that was even more sad because they were isolated on like a bad level. I don't know.
Just to
Yeah.
add more to that, I would say, there is a thing called as physical touch, or being there with somebody physically. And the fact that, there are, even now when we have online, we could talk with each other online. But therapists usually want somebody to come near them so that they could, understand it very closely. And we can't rely on virtual treatments when in the COVID time, as Kim you have mentioned. And plus, I would say COVID was more generating COVID time was generating more tensions, because you were actually longing for somebody who is not there with you, and somebody who is away. You were having also tension about the other person who's your loved and close ones, like how is he, how is she. And this entire thing gave a lot of mental health issues as compared to non-COVID times.
It was still easier for us because we could video call and call the other person because we know how to use it. But what about the people who couldn't? Yeah.
Yeah, just to add a few things to that is that it was like a COVID lockdown and quarantine, so also their daughters, sons, and other relatives were there around. So it was not like they were, like, for most of them at least, it's not like they were left alone. And also, one more good thing that had happened is awareness about therapies and all. Like before COVID, I don't think people are much interested in going to a therapist for conditions like we had faced during COVID. So I think like in the awareness program about COVID, therapy was also one of the key points in there. Yeah, so that is what I have to say from my side.
Yes. uh, yeah, that is it, I guess. We could go to the
Okay.
next phase.
Yeah. That's it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, feedback part. We've done a
Okay.
lot of feedback today.
I was-
I don't know. I couldn't contradict like today.
Yeah,
There was
exactly,
something.
exactly. I
yeah,
think
that's
our nature is very
optimistic.
optimistic, and I was not getting any points to go against COVID-19,
Yeah,
although it was a
exactly.
bad time. Not even one point. Like I was looking only points from your side. Uh,
I feel like we are facing this problem because we faced like a very positive side of COVID.
COVID.
It didn't affect us at that level.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Uh, I'll give some feedbacks. Do you all have any feedbacks to add, or shall I start first?
Start.
Feedback.
Start.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can start. Then
Start.
we can add up later.
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
For Kim, I really liked how you used the proverb like silver lining. It fitted really well
Mm.
in the whole when you started. Some examples you gave, like including myself, which showed a little like we could rely on to that, which was nice. You okay? Many of your points like nature and all, I really liked how you generalize points to different aspects like nature, then this, that. And nature was also one point that I was thinking, but I wasn't able to say from my side. So that is a good
Yeah.
thing. Uh,
Yeah.
from For Harsh, I think it is really difficult to add on to while going second. Like most of your points are already
Hmm.
taken, but you added
Yeah.
well. The I really like how you mentioned about IIT, MIT. Like it showed you're authentic and you know about the like whatever is going around.
Yeah.
Uh, when I asked, okay, one thing I don't really like about you is when you're asking questions, don't reduce your voice at the end. Like look into the camera and ask it like a question. Maybe you were
I
not
see.
asking it like a question, but henceforth, maybe
Mm-hmm.
whenever you're asking, just ask it like a
Mm-hmm.
question. Like we don't realize if you're asking or not.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
uh, okay, one thing I wrote is listening. You should have listened, like I mentioned about Jay or John. When I told, I wasn't mentioning about stock market. Maybe you wanted to say about stocks, but
No,
maybe you
I
should have.
interpreted it long overall. Interpreted it long. Wrong.
Okay, interpreted. Okay,
Yeah,
so maybe
interpreted.
listening is a skill, and like even
Yeah.
I do a lot of mistakes in that. So maybe that is a negative feedback for you. And for Teresa, I have one negative feedback. I really don't like didn't like how you said about death a lot of time. Like many of your points were about death, but we took the topic setting aside death, right? So that is one negative feedback for you. And
Yeah.
like, and I wrote some good comeback. One of the question was really difficult, but you handled it really well. But I don't remember which comeback it was. And for me, I would say, like, I did not have any point. Most of your points were said by you, so I felt a lack of content today. But I really liked how I used the word imagine and started with a story like a case study, and then went ahead. Yeah, that is it. Do you all have any feedbacks?
Yes, Kim's animal point, the part where nature was taken into consideration was nice. I wouldn't have thought of that. That was a very different perspective. Um, Yeman also had good points. I spoke most of it, but if I had to not, you had more like concrete points. Harsh also, you added well to what Kim had to say, which was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, like from my side, I think Kim's intro was great. She covered like most of the point very well and in a flow. Then from Triza, I feel she like I mean she replied the questions very well, debated to the
Yeah.
questions very well. And Keman, of course, he got some good lines and all, and he like came up with example and not some just points. So that was a great thing. And for the topic, I felt like divided. Positives were at their side and negatives were at their side. Didn't want to like I couldn't say like this point is negative, but this could have been positive. Like that, I couldn't do. I could just do like we adopted to it.
Yes.
So that was one thing. And another thing was one topic that I thought would be coming is about fake news and stuff like those because that was very common during COVID. And of course, toxicity on social media, like especially Twitter and all, was too high. So things like those could have been talked about, I feel. And yeah, overall, but it was a great debate. I think everyone had great points. Like,
Yes.
I like the way Keman always starts with like a story or something, some catchy incident or proverb to just grab everyone's attention. So that was good. And then he had all his points also well. Teresa also had good points. I like the way Teresa does the rebuttal phase. Like she replies to questions very well. And like even if my question, she'll find some other angle to it, like at the on the spot. So yeah, I like that. And Harsh also had very good points and very technical terms about that, as Keman said, NIT, MIT. So it really makes it a little, next level. Like it sounds very good. And yeah, it makes the information also sound very authentic. So that was good about Harsh. And even I feel like I had good points today.
Yes,
Yeah.
really good points. Yeah, we could go on the next phase maybe from other side.
Yeah. Yeah, Harsh, you had to save those 2 points for this part. Because
yeah, okay,
they,
I forgot that feedback round is not for that.
One rebuttal phase question I had, I wanted to ask you all, like, if we are saying COVID-19 was a good time, do you want a COVID-19 tomorrow, like the same situation tomorrow? I wanted to ask, but then
yeah,
I don't know
that
why I did
was
not
a
ask.
nice,
Exactly.
very nice.
Yeah.
Not for
But
me.
I don't know. I would want it like
yeah,
with
Yes,
some
for some
excitement.
rest maybe.
I will
Maybe
want in college
maybe not the
again, no
sad
matter
part
what.
of it, but the holiday part of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, let's think from other perspective. It will be fun.
Hmm.
Harsh, your recording is on, right? Like mine might
Yeah,
disrupt. Okay, yes. Good.
yeah, it's on, it's on.
Can we start? Shall
Yeah.
we take more time?
Yes. Um, okay. I think
Okay, Trisa,
Kim and has
Teresa,
okay.
start.
In school, did you all have something called as silent bell?
Yeah, silence bell.
Silence bell.
no.
No.
So what happens is after recess, we have this silence bell for like 1 minute or two. Okay, and everyone has to take whatever position they are in. If you're standing, you have to stand. If you're sitting, you sit for 2 minutes and you don't move. So I felt like COVID was a bit like a silence bell for everyone. And if we didn't do and we were like running around, we were punished. Okay, so similar case in COVID, if we had to move around and do whatever we wanted to, it would punish us like with death or something. So,
Yes, nice
uh,
analogy.
so
Yeah, very nice.
so that could be like something we could spend more time with our families because of that, and the whole world was at a like a stop. The whole thing stopped, and we were we were not just running around. We had time to analyze on what we wanted to do. Yeah. And one more point is Kim spoke of influencers like coming up and everything, but even small business owners, since people were shifted to online mode, especially those with cakes and cupcakes, all that came up
Yeah,
very.
Hmm.
And the third point would be many people started turning vegan because the thing of COVID coming from like that and
yeah,
that. Yeah, so these are my points.
Yes.
Good points.
Uh,
yes,
just to add on to, I would say first about the old media, like many of the like since content media was on the high peak in COVID times, like many old movies which were not even seen were seen during that time, old games, and they were more talked about. This is an underrated gem from this time. So for the like it was a good for that maybe. An old series like Ramayana was played again, and that could have been a point by me. Uh, National integrity, Hush did mention about it, but I think you should have mentioned a more in the starting phase, like all the people came together and they were maybe some funny like light words, like they were playing like corona go go corona go, something in that line. And some other point is about geolocations, since like geolocating places, like nowadays entire world is on the Google map, like you could almost find any place, and that was on the higher boom during the COVID time because you have to traverse certain material and like maybe some online shopping, maybe very post COVID time. So maybe that would have been a point. And my last point would be about data. Like since many people came on online, there was a high boom on data, and that gave a lot of GPT models like ChatGPT or Gen AI and entire thing. So yeah, that would have been my one point. Over to
Also, things like Swiggy, Zomato, and Blinkit also is a recent concept, but those things came up because of COVID, right?
yes,
I
yes,
feel.
yes,
yeah. Okay, so Teresa and Cayman have covered most of the points, but I still like to highlight a few. So we live in like the modern age now, and most of the families are nuclear families, and several of those families don't even live with their aged parents. So yes, I think the senior citizen section of the population maybe has faced a lot of difficulty during this time, especially because everything was online. We had to, even the groceries were being ordered online at some point, and those who do not have would mostly most of them don't know how to use smartphones. So that was a huge disruption in their life. Then there was also a complete shutdown of outdoor activities like playing and things like that. So physically, we were very constrained. And huge businesses such as sport leagues, huge cricket tournaments, football, these are huge businesses, right? There was a complete cut down in that section. So, like Tisa mentioned, a lot of small businesses were flourishing at that point. But at the same time, the huge businesses were declining a lot, like especially businesses that require us to physically be there, like coffee shops or gyms, malls. There was a complete cut down in their business. Then there was a disruption in religious and cultural activities, like we have just seen Chaturthi has taken place. So it requires people to come together, do things together. So there was a complete disruption in that. In Catholics, we go for Mass on Sunday, and especially among the aged individuals, they feel like it's very compulsive to go. Like, I mean, they cannot do with the with not going, or even the online mode is not very suitable for them. So there was a disruption in that. Then we spoke about mental health, how it could be managed. But what about people who are completely unaware of a concept called mental health, and they are just dealing with it and suffering from it without knowing how to go about it? So those individuals were suffering.
Kim, just
And
a second. The meet will get ended. Like I'll send another link. Okay, just a second.
Okay, I think Kim already covered most of the points again. Yeah, I agree with most of the points she mentioned, and yeah, like outings and all, like she mentioned. So yeah, I do sometimes wonder what if the first year of the college was offline, like how many more night outs and how many more events we could have been to. Then yeah, many of the people also lost jobs and all. Like work from home is good only for IT perspective, not for many others. So yeah, I think Kim has already covered most of the points. I don't have much to add up to it. Hmm. Yeah, individually it all. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, at a individual level, it was a good time, but it can't be ignored. Like almost the whole population of the earth was suffering, and so many of the, like Kim already again mentioned, that so many of the people are suffering. Yeah, maybe. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Hmm. Even like obesity is part of it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Mm. Mm. You could have talked about obesity and less exercise and all those things would have been. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm. Yeah, that's some good knowledge there. I remember that biology class. Yeah, I, I took it. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Okay, we are doing individually. I thought we were presenting or something. Okay, let's go. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I can see things like scientific unity, like researchers all around the world have come together to find a vaccine fast to it. Then re-evaluation of priorities, like people, I think it was already mentioned, people are spending more time with the family and all. It was a boost to local community. I think this we could have like talked better. Integrity part we could have talked better. And health system reforms, yeah, it changed things for like forever. And from the bad side, yeah, political exploitation was there. Then generational scars, like uh, many children would have missed a good social life and all. Then obesity is one thing. And yeah, worsen global inequality. Rich got richer and poor got poor because rich had like all the resources and time to adapt and all. Yeah, I think that is a few things I could see from ChatGPT. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. No, I think it's pretty much covered. Hmm. Uh, yeah, if I was to go first, I will talk about the game Among Us. Like I used to play it so much with the friends and all. That was so fun. Like, yeah, and we used to like connect on Discord and play. So if you are the imposter, you are sweating that not to say anything bad and all. Other they'll know you are the imposter. So yeah, online gaming was a fun time back then. There. That's a horror movie or something? Okay, great. Hmm. 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 Oh. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Agree. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Damn. Hmm. Okay. Uh, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, this is a great idea. Hmm. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we can stop. Yeah.